Hey everybody, Tom Vasel here. Welcome back to Board Game Breakfast. We are a day late, but that's because I was in London, or I am in London, but I was in London. It's all this future stuff going on. But anyhow, folks, this is a variety show about board games. We got reviews, we got all sorts of things coming your way. We'll talk more about this in a bit because it's getting super windy. See you in a bit. Okay, that was recorded at the top of St. Paul's Cathedral, so I wasn't using the best of cameras and things, but we are back home now from the UK Gaming Expo. And I'll mention a little bit about that later on in the show. There's going to be no Q&A today. There will probably be one at some point during this week, so just keep an eye on our YouTube channel for when that goes up. We are basically, this week is a transitional week. We have a lot of stuff that we're putting together from the UK Gaming Expo and reviews and things. And next week's is the Origins Game Expo. So we're getting ready, we're finishing one and getting ready for the next one. So there's a lot of different things going on. So without further ado, let's get to the news. Well, since we're coming up onto Gen Con and Origins and all this stuff, the news is really increased. Big news, of course, from Yellow, King of Tokyo 2nd Edition has been announced. They are finally, for everyone who's been wanting a Space Penguin, the Space Penguin is coming in, as well as Cyber Kitty. But that means the Kraken and Cyber Bunny are out. So if you like those, oh well, keep your 1st edition copy. The artwork is completely new. They're doing it for 3D effects that they want to be able to use it in. Just completely new artwork, but you'll still recognize your favorite characters that you like. They're going to have an exclusive Target version, which has an extra baby Gigasaur. So have fun trying to hunt that down for a year or so. And if you want Space Penguin and Cyber Kitty, they have talked about maybe coming out with a mini expansion, which you can get if you have the original King of Tokyo. To me, even more importantly though, they also announced a new expansion for King of New York, a power-up expansion, which gives them power-ups for use in King of New York and a separate set of power-up cards for use of King of Tokyo, which I think is really cool. And I like being able to use the monsters back and forth. This honestly means I'm going to be playing King of Tokyo more than King of New York because we have all these creatures with power-up cards. But hey, let's see. Final Touch is a new game coming out from Space Cowboys. So I'm always, pretty much any game they release is one I'm going to talk about. Mayfair has acquired a controlling interest in Twilight Creations. They did this before with Lookout Games, now Twilight Creations. Twilight Creations is best known for Zombies, Zombies 2, Zombies 3, Zombies 4, etc., etc., etc. This gives Mayfair another line that has kind of like zombies and fantasy and sci-fi in it, so they'll be able to stick that underneath this brand, and it's good for this company. Gray Fox has announced a new game, Order of the Gilded Compass. This is actually a reprint of Alia Ayecta Est. This is a dice rolling game, which is really cool. They kind of streamlined it, took the theme out a little bit differently, but I like it, and you will also. Mayfair has announced a new game, Fight for Olympus, a 2-player game in which you are, well, fighting to control Olympus. I like when the theme's in the name of the game. Dot Game. G-A-M-E, you can now get .game instead of, dicetower.com. I could have dicetower.game or, whatever .game. As pretty much everything else like .tv and .info, I think this is going to be exciting for a moment and then no one's ever going to use them. The new 40K starting deck, the Battle for Vendress. This is, I believe, Space Marines and Orcs. So if you want to jump into the game, this is a new starting point for those who want to get into 40K. 40K is usually considered a fairly expensive game. This is a pretty inexpensive, comparatively, way to jump into the mix. An expansion for TMNT, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Attack Dice, Heroes in a Half Shell. This comes with 12 new characters. 4 of them are the Turtles again, though. Cash and Gun, now this one I'm really excited about, has a new expansion coming out called Team Spirit, which is going to let you, well, be on teams, which the first expansion for the original Cash and Guns let you do so, and it worked really well there. This also is going to let you go up to 9 players. That's great. It includes thugs that you can hire to take out other people. Whatever, it's Cash and Guns expansion, we're getting it. And WizKids has announced another game based in the D&D universe called Assault of Giants. It looks like it might be a dudes on a map risk type game, maybe where you each control a different race of giants. There's giant miniatures. Honestly, I don't know more than that. Once I do, we'll talk about it. Whew, a lot of news. There's probably some more I haven't even mentioned. We'll get to that next week. For now, to the Kickstarter.
Happy breakfast, everybody. There is a lot of cool stuff happening on Kickstarter right now, so let's get going. The massive space sandbox game, Xayah Legends of a Drift System, is back with a new expansion, Xayah Embers of a Forsaken Star. Xayah is lauded as a true sandbox game in which you can build out ships, explore, battle, pick up and deliver goods, or mine and trade cargo. There are variable ships, modular boards, and tons of events and missions. In a sense, you really get to make the game what you want it to be. Embers of a Forsaken Star brings even more of all of this to Xayah, including more pre-painted ship minis, 18 new events, and 13 solo variant cards. But perhaps equally important is that you can grab the base game in this campaign, which for some has been hard to get. Embers of a Forsaken Star takes a pledge of $39, but you can get the base game and the expansion for a pledge of $115. In Oilfield, a new worker placement game from Spanish publisher ABBA Games, players are competing to be the most successful oil tycoon in 1930s Texas. This is designed as a lighter weight Euro with enough depth to keep experienced gamers challenged. As a tycoon, you'll have to lease land, build extraction towers, and collect and sell resources. But selling to the national market can be tricky because the prices will fluctuate based on demand, so timing your sale is critical. Oilfield has a neat combo of a public and hidden action system, and this creates a really nice balance between competitive worker placement but action flexibility. You can get a copy of Oilfield for a pledge of $39 plus shipping. Common Man Games is bringing us an app version of their popular Police Precinct game. This cooperative game has players working together to discover enough evidence to arrest a culprit before crime overruns the town. I had access to the beta version of the app, and I can tell you that its development is really far along. Common Man's put a lot of thought into the app, and it has features that make this unique among cooperative game apps, including adjustable difficulty, online cooperative play, and an in-game chat. Plus, the app will be available for iOS and Android. Because of App Store idiosyncrasies, the pledge levels are a bit unusual and you'll want to read them really closely. But basically, if you want to just grab the app, you'll want to go for the $3 eClub pledge and you'll be able to get the app for a discounted price later. But other pledge levels include the ability to get the analog game and some new analog goodies too. If you're an aspiring game designer or just a card aficionado, you should check out Hekadeck. This is a 160 card deck that will let you play all your favorite standard card games, but it does a lot more. A Hekadeck includes 4 extra suits, and all 8 suits include 0, 11s, and beast cards. On top of that, there are double-suited cards, non-suited arrow and talisman cards, and there are a bunch of other character cards too that would give you a ton of flexibility and options. The cards feature charming hand-drawn illustrations, and the deck should really serve as a playground for classic games or games yet to be created. You can get a Hekadeck for a pledge of $18 plus shipping. And last but not least, Terra Nova Games, the makers of Ophir and Far Space Foundry, are bringing us Trick of the Rails. Designed by Hisashi Hayashi, who designed Trains and Sail to India, this game combines 18xx games, which are those famously heavy railroad stock games, with a trick-taking card game. Previously only available in Japan in a really small print run, Trick of the Rails has a refreshed look but the same crunchy gameplay. Players will play a fairly straightforward trick-taking game, but based on the type of the cards in the trick line, players are going to take an action, whether it's taking a stock share, adding a city to the rail line, or adding an engine to a line. Points are scored based on how many shares they have and the value of the different rail lines. For a card game, there is a lot to think through here, and I love the mix of streamlined mechanisms with deep gameplay choices. You can get a copy of Trick of the Rails for a pledge of just $13 plus shipping. Okay, that's all I've got for you this show. Hopefully something caught your eye. And until next time, I hope you have a wonderful week.
Welcome back, Dice Tower Nation. We are in the middle of our annual comparison of the Dice Tower Awards and the top 100 People's Choice games of all time. We are exploring the question that if we, the Dice Tower content creators, elevate the status of a game by giving it an award, is it more likely to be on your list at the time of the people's choosing? Last week, we looked at 2011 and 2012. Results have been divided, but this segment is proving extremely popular. Okay, so moving to 2013, we have probably the worst year of synergy of the 4 years we looked at. You, the people, selected Caverna, which won Game of the Year, as well as Battle Lore 2nd Edition, Forbidden Desert, Eldritch Horror, and One Night Ultimate Werewolf. But you didn't select Euphoria, Russian Railroads, Rampage / Terror in Maple City, or Freedom the Underground Railroad. That last one was a real surprise because it won 3 Dice Tower Awards. Or excuse me, 3 Dice Tower Awards to those of you in Germany. Shame on all of you. Especially me, because I have still never played Freedom. Now in 2014 we have a pretty clean sweep, with Dead of Winter in its freshman year appearing at the number 2 spot on the People's Choice. It won Best Game, Best Co-op, and Best Theming. So I think with this one the Dice Tower Network and its constituents were in perfect harmony. Note that Imperial Assault, Splendor, Alchemist, Spyfall, Star Realms, and Five Tribes all appeared on the People's Choice after winning Dice Tower Awards. The only 2 from last year that got shut out were Tragic Looper and Abyss. So the conclusion that I've come to is that if a game wins the Dice Tower Award Game of the Year, it will appear on the People's Choice. If it wins one of the lesser awards, it is more likely to end up on the People's Choice, but it's not 100%. It's more like about 60%. How will this year's Dice Tower Awards influence this year's People's Choice Awards? I'm not sure, but I can't wait to find out and share it with you, the good people of Dice Tower Nation.
Hey there, this is Mike with the Board Game Makeover. In this week's episode, I'm going to show you how I took one of my favorite 2-player games, Tides of Time, yes, Tides of Time, and I give it a theme makeover. Now, the Tides of Time, the 2-player game by Portal Games, is a great game, has lots of theme, and the artwork is amazing. But it's only 18 cards, which gives it the perfect opportunity to give it a theme of your choice. So I did it 3 times. I gave it a football theme, so you're making your own team. I give it a board game theme, so you're building your own board game collection. And I give it a superhero theme, where you're building your own team of superheroes. Let me show you what I did. There are 3 suits for each of the 5 locations in Tides of Time. I put each card into a 3.5 by 5 inch hard case. The Palace was replaced by Superman, Z-Man Games, and the San Diego Chargers. The Stronghold was replaced by Batman, Cool Mini or Not, and the Denver Broncos. The Temple was replaced by the Joker, Asmodee, and the Cincinnati Bengals. The Library was replaced by Dr. Doom, Plaid Hat Games, and the Seattle Seahawks. The Garden was replaced by the Flash, Stronghold Games, and the Green Bay Packers. And finally, the last 3 cards didn't represent a location, so I used generic themes such as DC and Marvel together, a board game and board game themed collage, and miscellaneous NFL pictures. So giving Tides of Time a makeover on its theme was very easy to do, and it was really enjoyable, and I definitely liked the artwork for the superheroes. So next time I take this out to game night, we'll be opening the box and go, oh, hello, what's this theme right here? It's called Superheroes. Would you like to play it? Why, that would be amazing. So next time you give your game a theme makeover, that'll happen to you. Thanks for watching the Board Game Makeover. We'll see you next time.
Hey, welcome to the 101. Well, it was quite a week, especially with the voting. And it turned out that Shadows of Brimstone won over Mice and Mystics. I thought it was going to be a lot closer with these 2 heavyweight games, but it really wasn't. It was Shadows of Brimstone, and people that like dungeon crawls really got behind Shadows of Brimstone. Was it as big a gap as it was Descent? No, it wasn't, but I'm going to have all that updated on the website, actually on the forum. If you go to Board Game Geek forum, Dice Tower, you're going to see that bracket all updated and everything. Now the person that won the the certificate forfeited because he lives in Germany, so we're going to put that to the end at the final. So the final is going to be worth something. So your comments are going to be really important on who I pick, at random, of course. And this week, we've got a pretty good one. Now, this one will be the last of the quarterfinals here, and it is Doom versus Dungeon Saga. Now, please put your comments in the bottom or email me at novaprime860 or leave a comment in one of my videos at Rob Orn on YouTube here. So, until next time, I'm Rob Orn. Thanks for all your votes and all your support, and we'll see you soon.
Hi, my name's Dave Adams. Welcome to Good Game, Better Gamers. Now, a while ago, my brother-in-law was getting married, and so our family, with the extended family, travelled up to our parents-in-law's house. There came an evening where no one was really interested in the TV and people were looking for something to do, and fortunately someone had brought board games. So I got out one of my favourite little gateway games called Get Bit. Now in Get Bit you play as pirates trying to swim for your life away from a hungry shark. To do this you line your pirates up in a row with the shark at the end of the line, and each player looks at their hand which has cards numbered between 1 to 7. Each player secretly chooses a card and lays it face down on the table. Simultaneously, everyone turns their card over, and then the pirates swim to the front of the line, starting from the lowest number to the highest number. Now, the only exception is that if two players play the same number, regardless of number, then those pirates don't move. As each round occurs, someone at the end of the line is inevitably going to get bit. Now, play continues until there are only 2 pirates left, and as soon as there are 2 pirates left, the player at the back gets eaten and the person at the front wins the game. This evening, there was a problem that arose. My aunt was at the end of the line and my uncle was just in front of her, and for a series of rounds they both kept choosing the same number. Her emotions started to get the best of her and she started to get quite upset at the fact that her husband was choosing the same number. Sometimes games have a way of getting into our heads, and they can draw out of us some strong and not always rational responses. I think there are some negative habits of mind at play here, and I'd like to explore those in the coming weeks, looking at this particular situation. Until then, as always, I'm Dave Adams. Enjoy your breakfast.
So what can you expect to see from the Dice Tower this week? We are going to continue Z Garcia's Top 100 Games of All Time. Also, I will be continuing my 40 Years of Great Games. You're going to see our live show from the UK Gaming Expo, and we recorded a couple live shows there, so we'll try to have those up as we go through this week. We're also going to be taking a look at some games that we've played recently, and I wish I could tell you which games we're going to have this week, but because of just a time crunch, I don't know how many we're going to get out, but we'll try to get out as many as we possibly can. Hey, our Dice Tower episode itself was recorded live at the UK Gaming Expo with me and Sam, so that should be going up pretty much the same time this video goes up. And you can find that and all the other podcasts from all our wonderful podcasts in the Dice Tower network at dicetower.com.
Why, it's Chaz Marler here from Pair of Dice Paradise. And last time, audiences internet-wide clambered, scrambled to their monitors to hear the tale of the board game that I would design if an infinite amount of time, money, and dexterity checks were at my disposal. My dream game. Well, this week, I switch gears entirely by, instead of talking about my dream game, talking about my dream game. That is to say, instead of describing one's ultimate board gaming experience, discussing instead when board games invade our dreams. Dream game. It's wordplay. Play on words. You know what? That's not what we're here for, so let's move on. Back in the early to mid 1990s, A group of 5 friends and I would groom our mullets, grab our Magic the Gathering cards, and then settle in for an evening of mana tapping that would last long into the night. We untapped, upkept, and drew so frequently, in fact, that the mechanical operations of playing the game began to seep their way into my dreams. And I'm not talking about dreams where I was a dashing wizard flinging fireballs at foes or battling mobs of mythical monsters. No. These were dreams where I was sitting at a table playing games of Magic the Gathering with this group of friends in real time. No surreal subconscious dramatization, no Inception-like special effects, just the players taking their turns and playing their cards for hours and hours at a time. Looking back on it, it's endearing, but yeesh. Now, eventually, as the frequency of our Magic the Gathering gatherings tapered off, so did the frequency of the overnight fantasy games, and I eventually just completely forgot about them. But the recent discussion about dream games reminded me of those long-forgotten game dreams. And since then, no other game has managed to invade my slumber in the way that Magic the Gathering did. So, I wonder, was this game an anomaly? Am I an anomaly? Has anyone else out there ever had a card or board game invade their dreams? If so, I would love to hear which game and what happened in the comments above. Oh, just kidding. The comments are below, where they've always been. Wordplay.
Hi everyone, and welcome to another segment of Board Gaming with Colleagues with To Die For Games. I'm Mandy, the board gaming pinup girl.
I'm Tracy, the gaming maven.
And I'm Steph, the games teacher. Hey girls, do you know what time it is?
Lunchtime! So I'm really excited today because we are going to play Blueprints by Yves Tourigny. The game is by Z-Man Games. It plays 2 to 4 players and takes about 30 minutes to play. We're really excited because Yves is from our hometown, Ottawa, Ontario.
The objective of this game is to play over 3 rounds and get the most points by the end of the rounds. How you do that is you can win awards, either gold, silver, bronze for the best blueprint, or you can also win prizes, which include things like getting a certain number of a color or a sequential on your blueprint 1 through 6, and so on and so forth.
On your game turn, you will take one of these 7 dice on offer on the table, choose it and place it on your blueprint card, and then you will follow it up by taking a die out of the bag and rolling it and preparing it for the next player. There are 32 dice in the bag in 4 colors. The 4 colors are orange, which represent wood materials, green, which represents recycled materials, black, which represents stone materials, and clear, which are glass materials.
So overall, I really enjoyed the art. I seem to talk about art a lot, but I really enjoyed it on this game. Everything is simple, the dice, the actual blueprints, but effective. I really liked the sketch, so it actually represented the name. So overall, very good. I also like the fact in the game mechanic that you didn't have to complete your blueprint. You could also decide to take part of the prize cards instead.
I love this game so much that I actually gifted a copy to Will Wheaton at Ottawa Comic Con 2015, so I really hope he's also enjoying this game.
Oh, I'm sure he is.
I really like this game too, especially because it's from a local Ottawa designer that I've actually gotten to sit down at the table with and play games. So Thank you, Yves, for this great game.
Very cool. So we're going to leave you because we want to get one more game in before we have to head back to work. So we'll see you next time. Bye. Bye.
Hey folks, so I'm here at the UK Gaming Expo. I'm here in Birmingham, United Kingdom. This has been a fantastic week. I really had a great time at this convention. This is the largest, basically really the only major United Kingdom board game convention. And there's other things too. There's role-playing, there is miniatures, but it's essentially just mostly board games. And so it's held here at the NEC Conference Center in one of the rooms here. This is the first year they've done it. Most of the time they've done it in the Hilton, which is where we're staying. And they did a lot of it in the Hilton. There was different rooms that they had gaming in, and there was seminars and stuff, but we had a lot of fun. And so a lot of people have asked, you know, what do you think about this in comparison? It's very similar in scope to that of Origins Game Fair in America. They said there was a 40% increase this year. So I want to say that they came close to 8, 9, 10,000. I don't know their final numbers, but there was a lot of people. It was big. There was many publishers here, but there was not, it never felt overwhelming and crowded, and it felt like you could just go around and talk to people and, you know, jump into things and not worry about the massive crowds that we see at Gen Con and or Essen. So what this convention is, like I said, there's all different sorts of board games. Board gaming, though, is probably the most here. England is like the birthplace of miniatures, with Games Workshop here and Mantic and other companies that have all these miniature games, and there certainly was a lot of that. In fact, I told somebody I think there's more Ameritrash games here than there is in America, because there's so much of this combat and war games and stuff, but there's also Euro games here. In fact, Guilds of London was certainly probably one of the hottest games at the convention. When me and Sam went around and looked at all the different stuff, we saw a lot of small games. There's a lot of small abstract games, a lot of small dexterity games, a lot of kids games, a lot of games coming to Kickstarter soon or on Kickstarter, and a lot of games that we just hadn't seen before. Nothing that was like, wow, this huge game, but a lot of smaller games that are from this area, so I look forward to that. One of the things that we really enjoyed here was just meeting the fans. You might be watching this, you might have been there, so from me and Sam, a huge thank you to stopping by and saying hi to us. There was just tons of that. We did a couple shows. You'll see some of those shows being posted on the Dice Tower over this week or the next week, and we just had a great time doing those, and we were just surprised at just how nice everyone was. By the way, before you ask, yes, we had fish and chips. Yes, it was great. The food here was great. The weather looks like it's great, but this is the nicest it's been the whole time we've been here. But it wasn't horrible weather. I've been joking about it a lot, but it's been cool, which is something we're not used to in Miami. But we had a chance to visit London. You'll see that later this week. Sam's doing a travel blog on coming to the place. But we were just overwhelmed with how polite and generous, and it was always... I think the biggest thing we ran into was like concern that we were doing okay. Is everything okay? Are you doing okay? Are you having a good time? What do you need? How can we help you? And that was just amazing to us. It was a wonderful time. We will certainly want to try to come back next year. Over the next coming several weeks, you will probably see some of the games that we saw here as we play them and review them. And it's really a good kickoff to the summer. I always said Origins was the kickoff to the summer, but it looks like UK Gaming Expo may have them beat. I hope to be here next year. It's just been a fantastic, it's one of the best conventions I've ever been to. Anyhow, that's what I think.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Dave Luza, and this is Playing the News. The 23rd of June 2016 might become a pretty memorable day in the United Kingdom. It's the day on which they will vote on whether to stay or to leave the European Union. Leaving would mean being free from the boundaries and restrictions that the EU sets. No more billions in contributions, and the freedom to sell overly curved bananas and cucumbers, and put prevent dehydration on a bottle of water without penalty. But staying in the EU would secure the Brits the current cost of living, and we gamers know how important it is to keep trading in the Mediterranean and the rest of Europe. And I will still be able to visit the UK Games Expo without a visa. A hard choice with big consequences. And as this week the voters' registration closes, I prepare myself for a long weekend of gaming. A weekend that will start with a game that features a small Scottish part of this large island. A game in which a chieftain can make it to king. This week I am playing Isle of Skye. In Isle of Skye, with an E, players take control of a kingdom they want to expand. But each game, points are given out for different things. At the beginning of your game, 4 out of 16 scoring tiles are randomly chosen, giving you the game plan to how and when you can score points. And then the game starts. Each round, players receive their income and 3 tiles. Secretly, they choose 1 tile to discard and set the price for the other 2. If the tiles sell, players receive their own gold back and the buyer's gold as well. If the tiles don't sell, the players pay for the tiles with the money they already allocated to it. The game has been nominated for the German Spiel des Jahres award, and rightfully so. With its easy rules and fairly short playing time, this game has hit the tables a lot lately. And because of the different scoring tiles each round, each game is refreshing. I suggest you check it out. My name is Dave Luza, and I have arrived. I wish you guys a great week.
Hi friends, welcome back. Niels Cyrils Brettspiele durchgespielt, and today we're talking in the best and the worst about Tempura from Yellow Games. My favorite part on Tempura is definitely the cool push your luck effect. This party game style, so a couple of people playing this game, so then there's a 5 in the middle and it goes counterclockwise right now, and he has a matching 5, he has a matching 5, he has a matching 5 as well, but you can see here, this player, oh, unfortunately, he don't have a pair, he don't have an action card, he don't have a matching 5, so now the only option he has is drawing 20 cards. And now it comes into play that everybody is screaming, rotten fish, a little bit like bingo. So and now he has to draw 20 card things, blah, blah, blah. Let's say this is 20, and then you flip it over and see, oh, rotten fish, damn. Everybody is screaming for rotten fish, rotten fish. That is cool, very cool. I really like that. However, the flip side of the game is, in the second game, or at least in the third game, people start thinking about strategies and building strategies. At the start of the game, you only have one rotten fish card in a pretty thick stack of cards. There are a couple of more cards in the deck, but later on you can get up to 6 rotten fish cards. Therefore, people try to hoard cards in the first round, and then when they collected 30 or 40 good cards, they never have to redraw a card. They can easily win with that one good luck shot. Meow. That was Cyril's Brettspiele. My name is Niels, and today we talked about the best and the worst part of these little kitties here. By the way, what is your favorite part of Tempura?
When I was playing games at the Expo, we were playing a game and we were playing it horribly, and someone said, hey, some games are better when you play them badly. And I thought, boom, there we go, top 10 list. So today we're taking a look at our top 10 games that are more fun when you're not good at them. All right, so these are games, these are maybe necessarily for me. I think that when somebody in the group is not very good at the game, it makes the game more hilarious. Number 10, Robo Rally. Now, Robo Rally can be frustrating, and there's a lot of people who don't like it. But that frustration never really bothers me. I think the whole thing is funny. You're programming robots to move around, and as the game goes by, you're getting bumped, you make a mistake, you program incorrectly, your robot gets smashed, burned, crushed, falls off ledges. I think it's really funny. Number 9 is Fireball Island. Yes, this game from when we were kids, where the fireballs roll down. An amazing game, but it's only good if you're on the bridge and it gets knocked over. It's only good if the fireballs come and hit you. Most of the time, when people are good and avoid the fireballs, it makes the game really boring. So it's better when you're bad at it. Number 8 is Galaxy Trucker. Now maybe this one is just me, but in Galaxy Trucker, you're building your own spaceship, you're flying, you're going to fly through a mission, and your spaceship gets beat up and blown up. I think it's hilarious when your ship just gets blown to pieces. The worse you do at this game, the funnier I think it is. I just love it, Galaxy Trucker. Number 7 is Pie Face. This one seems kind of obvious. If you're good at it, nothing happens. So we want you to get hit with a pie, so please be bad and roll poorly. Number 6 is Fearsome Floors. This is a game in which you and a whole bunch of other people are in a basement and a monster's chasing you. Could be scary, but the game is not really. It's more of a Frankenstein silly monster. But if people sit there and count it out and be very careful and try to do things, the game can be kind of boring. I'd rather people just quickly move and go fast, and the monster goes around and catches people who just manage to not get out of his way, and that, to me, adds a lot of fun to the game. Number 5 is The Adventurers, The Temple of Shock. You ever get crushed by those walls? Probably not, because most people are very careful when they cross the bridge. They get very careful when they run over the lava, when the boulder's chasing them. But if people get risky and sometimes play badly, they get run over by the boulder, the wall smash, and it makes the game, to me, a lot more fun. Number 4 is Can't Stop. I can stop. No, I can't. I just played this game. I was sitting in a lecture last week, and someone next to me had it, and we passed it back and forth. And can't stop. If you just roll a few times and then stop and give it to the next person, you can play for a long time, and you might do well, but it's also a little boring. I really like when someone pushes their luck and does like almost at the end, and everyone's cheering, and then they fail. Yes, that was a bad move to make, but it's funny to watch. Number 3 is Time's Up. The more names you don't know in Time's Up, the better it is. The more you can't communicate with your partner, the more funny everyone around you is going to find it. And it is just a blast. I like Time's Up. And when people are good, it's still a fun game. But when people are bad, it can lead to some moments that you will remember for the rest of your life. Number 2 is Tales of Arabian Nights. This game is all about having whatever happen to you. It's random. Good things happen to you, bad things. When good things happen to you, you're happy. But when bad things happen to you, the game gets so fun. You can be crippled and poor and beaten and all these things. And bad. And pretty soon you're like, how are you even moving at this point? And it's silly fun. But it doesn't compare to number 1, which to me is the ultimate game of games that when you're bad, they're better, and that's Telestrations. If you are an excellent artist, Telestrations is really boring. If you just guess boring guesses, Telestrations boring. But if you are bad at guessing and if you are bad at drawing, you will have some of the best Telestration games that you have ever played. Telestrations is a game where you're basically drawing silly pictures and guessing what they are. And the worse the pictures and the funnier the guesses, the better the game is. A whole lot of fun. Telestrations. Those are my top 10 games that are more fun when you're horrible at them. What are yours? Tell me in the comments.
Board Game Social, hosted by Dean Leggett.
Hey everyone, my name is Dean with Board Game Social. I'm here today to talk to you about giving back to your community. And what better way to give back to your community and show your passion for board gaming than to volunteer to be a merit badge counselor for the Boy Scouts of America. The Game Design Merit Badge is relatively new to Boy Scouts, but it is a great way for them to not only be creative and show off their mental prowess and their design abilities, but it's also a way for you to share your love of this passion as well. So before you take these wide-eyed youths and have them develop the next big Magic the Gathering or Settlers of Catan, there are a few things you'll have to do before you can do that. And a lot of this centers around explaining to them terminology, things like play value and complexity versus depth, theme, replay value. They don't spend a lot of time on it, but there is a portion of it that they just need to understand before they can be game designers. So now they understand the terminology and they're ready to dive right in and they're ready to design their masterpiece. But slow down there, buddy, because you need to show that you understand this. So what do we have them do? We have them take a game that they understand, that they've played a lot, very simple game, and we have them tweak the rules, change a rule. Then ask them, how does that impact the game? Change another rule, how does that impact the game? Because we want them to be able to make predictions and to understand how slight changes within the rules can either be better or worse for their game design. Once they're able to understand how tweaking the rules can change a game, then they finally get to sit down and design their new masterpiece. So next time we're going to take a look at the prototyping and playtesting portion of the Merit Badge. What all does that entail? What are the expectations for these teenagers? So until then, please take care of yourselves, take care of your loved ones, and I'll see you next time.
Hi guys, my name is Dan Under, and this is Welcome to the Dungeon, one of my favourite games. Welcome to the Dungeon is a weird little beast. It's kind of a cross between an auction game and a very elaborate game of chicken. So on your turn, all you'll do is you'll draw a card from this deck here. You'll have a look at the monster that you've drawn, only you get to see it. You can either put that monster into the dungeon, where the warrior has to fight it later, or you can take away a piece of the warrior's gear. So we keep going around the table like this, and the once unstoppable warrior starts to look pretty shaky, and the dungeon, well, there's a few cards in there now. It's a bit scary looking, and then players start to pass, because in this game, dying is bad. Once everybody but one person has passed, we have a high bidder. That high bidder then takes the warrior into the dungeon. If the warrior dies twice on your watch, you are out of the game. First time you get bloodied, second time, you're gone. However, if the warrior happens to beat the dungeon, you collect one of these, a merit badge. Get 2 of them, the game's over, and you just won. Welcome to the Dungeon is an auction game, and auction games aren't really that common, but they all tend to be really good. Things like Ra, Modern Art, Vasel, some of my favorite auction games. Auctions are fun. If you've ever been to an auction, it's just fun. You get to stick your hand up, you wave things around. Now I want you to imagine an auction where only you know the true strength of your bid. Hey, I just took this card and put it in the dungeon. And only I know, is that a 1 strength goblin that's not gonna hurt my warrior much? Or is it a 7 strength demon that's gonna mess my guy up? I took away this dragon spear from the warrior. Now, did I do that because I know this card's a dragon? Or did I do that because I know that the dragon, I drew the dragon, tucked it out of the game with the dragon spear on it? Am I laying a trap for you? Am I bluffing a trap? Am I just an idiot that doesn't know what he's doing? Who knows? And this game gives you the best feeling. It's that feeling you get when you know you've pushed your luck too far. You know that I shouldn't have drawn that card. And you know that the next person's gonna pass, and then the person after them's gonna pass, and you're gonna go into the dungeon, and you are going to die. And then the next person draws a card, and you say, oh, I'm safe. And that person is in an awful lot of trouble. I mean, plus you get to see stuff like sometimes you'll have this amazing play where your mage enslaves a demon, and then the demon runs in and kills the dragon, and everybody loves that. Except for maybe the dragon, I guess. Welcome to the dungeon. We got fun and games. We got everything you want. I don't even know the words to the song. How's it go?
And that's another Board Game Breakfast done. All right, next week's Board Game Breakfast should hopefully be on time. A huge thank you to all my contributors who stepped up. Lots of stuff this week that wasn't Tom Vasel. And of course, that always makes the show better. Oh, we have things coming out this week. Lots of different things. Sam did a blog of our UK Gaming Expo. There's a new show starting this week. I forgot to talk about that. Throat Punch Lunch from Sam coming out this Wednesday. So more goodness coming from the Dice Tower. As always, a huge thank you from me to all those of you who came by and said hello at the UK Gaming Expo. A huge thank you of all you who watch us each week. We'll see you next time. Until then, I'm Tom Vasel, and this has been the Dice Tower.
Thanks for watching Board Game Breakfast. Tune in each week for your daily dose of gaming goodness with Tom Vasel and all the gang. Until next time, I'm Eric Summerer, and you've been watching Board Game Breakfast, a Dice Tower production, sponsored by Cool Stuff Inc., an amazing place to buy board games. Cool stuff in stock at coolstuffinc.com.